On a cold winter night in New Hampshire, a young woman drives down a snow-covered road, then suddenly loses control and crashes into the roadside. A school bus driver sees her, stops, and offers to help, but she refuses. Just minutes later, when the police arrive, she is gone without a trace. No footprints, no clues, no answers. For over 2 decades, the mysterious disappearance of Maura Murray has remained an unsolved puzzle, leaving police, her family, and those obsessed with the case searching for the truth. Did Maura vanish to escape it all? Was she abducted? Or is there another secret still hidden in the shadows? Join us as we uncover this chilling mystery in today's video. Maura Murray was born on May 4th, 1982, and was a 21-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. She grew up in an Irish Catholic family as the 4th of 5 siblings. Before attending UMass Amherst, Maura was a student at the prestigious United States Military Academy at West Point. However, after 3 semesters, she decided to switch her field of study. According to her family, friends, and those who knew her, Maura was seen as a well-rounded young woman. Beautiful, academically successful, athletic, and well-behaved. She had a promising future ahead of her in nursing and was in a loving relationship with her high school sweetheart Billy Roush. The couple even had plans to get married in the near future. However, Maura's life was not entirely smooth. 3 months before her disappearance, she was caught using a stolen credit card to purchase food, though it was considered a minor offense. Just days before she vanished, Maura had an emotional phone call with her sister Kathleen, and later broke down in tears while working her security shift at school. These events have raised many questions about her state of mind and circumstances, leading up to her mysterious disappearance on February 9th, 2004. 2 days before her disappearance, Maura Murray met with her father when he came to visit. They spent time together looking at cars, having dinner, and enjoying what seemed like an ordinary evening. However, that night, Maura borrowed her father's car to attend a party at a dormitory. While driving back to the motel at 3:30 a.m., she crashed into a highway guardrail, causing damage estimated at $10,000. Police arrived at the scene, but there were no signs indicating she was intoxicated. Strangely, at 4:49 a.m., a call was made from her father's phone to Maura's boyfriend. Who made the call? What was discussed? No one knows. The next morning, Maura's father reassured her that insurance would cover the damages and reminded her to fill out the accident report form. They agreed to talk again on Monday night, but that evening, Maura vanished. That afternoon, Maura packed her belongings. She took clothes, books, personal hygiene items, and even birth control pills. When police later searched her dorm room, they found that nearly everything had been cleared out. The pictures on the walls had also been taken down. This raised the question, had she planned to leave all along? At around 3:30 p.m., despite heavy snowfall, Maura drove her black Saturn away from the university. 10 minutes later, she stopped at an ATM and withdrew $280 in cash. Surveillance footage showed that she was alone. She then went to a liquor store and purchased Bailey's Irish Cream, Kahlua, vodka, and a box of Francia wine. A young woman traveling alone, carrying such a large amount of alcohol, what was it for? Was someone waiting for her at this mysterious destination? At 4:37 p.m., she checked her voicemail, and that was the last known trace of her before she vanished. 7:27 p.m. Report of a car accident. Sometime after 7 p.m. that evening, a resident of Woodsville, New Hampshire, heard a loud noise outside her home. Sensing something unusual, she moved closer to the window and looked outside. In the dim light, she saw a car that had skidded into a snowbank on Route 112, also known as Wild Ammonoosuc Road. The vehicle was facing west but was positioned in the eastbound lane, an odd detail that left her puzzled. Without hesitation, she called the police at 7:27 p.m. According to the 911 call log, she initially reported seeing a man smoking inside the car. However, she later corrected herself, saying she had only seen a red glow, possibly from a cell phone. Meanwhile, a school bus driver passed by the scene and stopped. He saw a young woman walking around the vehicle. She didn't appear to be injured but looked cold and shivering. When the driver offered to call the police, she immediately refused, saying she had already contacted roadside assistance. However, no record of such a call was ever found. Knowing that cell service was poor in the area, the bus driver decided to go home and call the police himself. His call was received at 7:43 p.m. Another witness driving by the scene at approximately 7:37 p.m. reported seeing a police SUV parked opposite Maura's car. This person did not see anyone inside or around either vehicle. However, the official police report stated that officers arrived at the scene at 7:46 p.m., 9 minutes later than the witness's account. 7:46 p.m. Police arrive at the scene. By the time the police arrived, no one was inside or around the car. The vehicle had hit a tree on the driver's side, severely damaging the left headlight. The radiator had been pushed into the fan, causing it to stop working. Both airbags had deployed and there was a large crack in the windshield. The car doors were locked. Inside the vehicle, police found several red stains that appeared to be red wine. They also discovered an empty beer bottle, a broken box of wine on the back seat, Maura's roadside assistance card, a blank accident report form, gloves, CDs, makeup, jewelry, printed directions to Burlington, Vermont, her favorite stuffed animal, and the book Not Without Peril, which describes hiking adventures in the White Mountains. However, Maura's credit cards, debit card, and cell phone were missing, and none of them had been used since her disappearance. Journalist Joe McGee summarized the incident as follows. At a sharp turn, she lost control and crashed into a snowbank. A school bus driver saw her and offered to help, but she refused. About 10 minutes later, police arrived, but Maura was gone. Initially, authorities believed that Maura might have voluntarily disappeared, given that she had packed for a trip without telling anyone and that there was no clear evidence of foul play. However, in 2009, her case was transferred to New Hampshire's cold case unit and reclassified as a suspicious missing persons case. 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Witness sightings. Between 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., a contractor driving home from Franconia saw a young man walking briskly along Route 112, about 6 to 8 kilometers east of the crash site. The person was wearing jeans, a dark-colored jacket, and a light-colored hoodie. Due to a misunderstanding about the timeline, the contractor did not report this sighting immediately. It was only 3 months later, after reviewing his work records, that he realized he had seen the young man on the exact night Maura disappeared. During this time, police and the school bus driver searched the area for Maura but found no trace of her. Before 8 p.m., rescue crews and firefighters arrived at the scene to clear it. At 8:49 p.m., Maura's car was towed to a local garage. Around 9:30 p.m., the police left the scene. A rag was found stuffed into the Saturn's tailpipe, believed to be part of Maura's emergency kit. Police officially classified Maura as missing at 12 noon the following day. After the crash on the night of February 9, 2004, Maura Murray mysteriously vanished, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. But this was only the beginning of a years-long search. At noon on February 10th, police officially issued a missing person report. Maura was described as wearing a dark coat and jeans, carrying a black backpack. Her family remained unaware of the situation. Around 3:20 p.m., an automated call was sent to Fred Murray's voicemail, Maura's father, informing him that his daughter's car had been abandoned. However, Fred was working in another state and did not receive the message right away. It wasn't until 5 p.m. when Maura's sister called him that he found out. Fred immediately contacted the Haverhill policeman, who told him that if Maura did not appear by the next morning, they would launch a search. On the morning of February 11th, Fred Murray rushed to the scene. Police and the Murray family began searching the area. A tracking dog was brought in, following Maura's scent from her glove. However, the trail abruptly ended about 100 yards east of the car. This led police to suspect that she had gotten into another vehicle and left the area. That same day, Maura's boyfriend and his parents also arrived in Haverhill. Police questioned him separately before conducting a joint interview with his family. At 7 p.m., law enforcement made a shocking statement. They believed Maura might have run away or had suicidal intentions. However, her family strongly rejected this theory. Strangely, while en route to Haverhill, Maura's boyfriend received a mysterious voicemail. On the other end of the line was the sound of a woman sobbing uncontrollably. When traced, the call was linked to a Red Cross calling card. Could this have been Maura? If so, why was she calling him in distress? On February 12th, the Murray family held a press conference, pleading for public assistance. The next day, Maura's disappearance made it to national television. Police suggested that she might have headed toward the Kankamegas Highway and was considered at risk and possibly suicidal. However, according to the school bus driver, the last known person to see her, Maura showed no signs of distress or panic, as the police speculated. A week later, Maura's father and boyfriend appeared on CNN, continuing their appeal for information. They expanded the search to Vermont, only to be disappointed when they learned that law enforcement there had not even been notified of Maura's disappearance. 10 days later, the FBI officially joined the investigation. They interviewed Maura's family in Massachusetts, while Haverhill police broadened their search nationwide. Helicopters with thermal imaging cameras, search dogs, and rescue teams were deployed, yet no trace of Maura was found. Then on February 26th, a shocking lead emerged. Maura's sister discovered a torn pair of women's underwear lying in the snow on a remote trail near French Pond Road. However, when DNA testing was completed, the results confirmed they did not belong to Maura. If not hers, then whose were they? And why were they found near where she vanished? By the end of February, police returned Maura's belongings to her family. On March 2nd, exhausted from days of fruitless searching, the Murray family left the area, but Fred Murray did not. Nearly every weekend he returned to the region to continue searching for his daughter. However, he was warned by Haverhill police about trespassing on private property. In March 2004, a similar disappearance occurred in Montgomery, Vermont, about 110 kilometers from where Maura vanished. The victim was Brianna Maitland. This eerie coincidence raised public speculation. Was there a serial predator operating in the area? However, in both April and again in June, police in New Hampshire and Vermont dismissed any connection between the two cases. They believed Maura had willingly left in another vehicle, with no evidence suggesting foul play. But not everyone accepted this theory. On July 1st, 2004, police retrieved items from Maura's car for forensic analysis. Then, on July 13th, a large-scale search was conducted within a 1-mile radius of the crash site, involving nearly 100 people, including state police, rescue personnel, and volunteers. This was the fourth search in the area, but the first to take place without snow covering the ground. The primary objective was to locate the black backpack Maura had carried on the day she disappeared. However, the search yielded no significant clues. By the end of 2004, a man handed Maura's father a rusty knife, claiming it belonged to his brother, a man with a criminal record who lived less than a mile from the crash site. The man also alleged that his brother and his brother's girlfriend had acted strangely after Maura's disappearance. He believed the knife might have been used to kill Maura. A few days after the knife was given to Maura's father, the man's brother disposed of his Volvo, further fueling suspicions. However, other family members dismissed his claims, arguing that he was fabricating the story to claim a reward from the investigation, especially given his history of drug use. In 2005, Fred Murray continued seeking assistance from New Hampshire Governor Craig Benson, and even appeared on the Montel Williams Show in November 2004 to publicize the case. On February 9, 2005, marking 1 year since Maura's disappearance, a ceremony was held at the site where her car had been found. There, Fred Murray had a brief meeting with New Hampshire Governor John Lynch. By the end of 2005, Fred Murray filed a lawsuit against several law enforcement agencies in an attempt to access his daughter's case files. Notably, on November 1, 2005, a user on the Not Without Peril forum with the alias Tom Davies claimed to have discovered a black backpack matching Maura's behind a public restroom at Pemigewasset Overlook. This location was about 30 miles east of Woodsville along Route 112. When asked about this finding, Senior Assistant Attorney General Jeffrey Strelzin confirmed that authorities were aware of the backpack, but did not disclose whether it had undergone forensic testing. Years passed, yet Maura Murray's disappearance remained unsolved. Her family, along with investigators and volunteers, continued searching, even as hope gradually faded. In 2006, the New Hampshire League of Investigators, 10 retired police officers and detectives, and the Molly Bish Foundation decided to step in. Among them was Tom Shamshak, a former police chief and a member of the Massachusetts Private Detectives Association, who made a chilling statement. "This is not just an ordinary missing persons case. Something terrifying happened here." The case continued to capture public interest to the point that the organization Let's Bring Them Home in Arkansas offered a $75,000 reward in 2007 for any information that could solve the mystery. But even such a significant sum failed to bring the case out of the shadows. In October 2006, a large-scale search was conducted, covering several miles around the site where Maura's car was found. When cadaver dogs entered an A-frame house approximately 1.6 kilometers from the crash scene, they had an intense reaction to a spot inside a closet. Even more unsettling, the house had once belonged to a man whose own brother had accused him of being involved in Maura's disappearance. The same man who had given Fred Murray a rusty knife in 2004. A carpet sample from the house was sent for testing, but the results remained a mystery, never publicly disclosed. 2 years later, in July 2008, another search was conducted in the forest near Haverhill, this time involving cadaver dogs and private detectives. Yet, as before, Maura seemed to have vanished without a trace. In 2009, her case became one of the driving forces behind New Hampshire's decision to establish a specialized unit for investigating unsolved cases. By the end of the year, it was officially added to the unit's case list. However, despite the increased attention, the investigation remained at a standstill. In 2010, Fred Murray publicly criticized the police for failing to treat his daughter's disappearance as a criminal case. He called for the FBI to step in, hoping they could provide a new direction. When asked about the status of the case, Senior Assistant Attorney General Jeffrey Strelzin stated in February 2009, "We don't know if Maura was a victim, but we are handling the case as a potential homicide." Yet, time continued to pass, and the answer to Maura's fate remained out of reach. In 2014, marking the 10th anniversary of the disappearance, Jeffrey Strelzin made a bitter admission. "We have no reliable information about Maura since the night she vanished." In an article published in New York Daily News, Fred Murray expressed his anguish, believing that his daughter had been abducted and murdered that very night. Years went by with no progress. By the 13th anniversary in February 2017, Strelzin reiterated that the investigation was ongoing, but that no new information had emerged to break the case open. In February 2019, Fred Murray spoke out once again. He could not forget the A-frame house near the crash site, where cadaver dogs had once reacted violently. He insisted, "That's my daughter. I am sure of it." Finally, in April 2019, the basement of the house was excavated, a step the Murray family had awaited for years. But the results were disappointing. Nothing was found except an old piece of pottery or piping. Then, in 2021, another shocking development occurred. The marker placed by the family at the last known location of Maura, a symbol of remembrance, was cut down. The family later requested permission to install a memorial plaque at the site, but the request was denied. In September 2021, a glimmer of hope emerged when New Hampshire State Police announced the discovery of human bone fragments on Loon Mountain in Lincoln, approximately 40 kilometers east of where Maura disappeared. Notably, Maura had previously visited the area. Could they have finally found her? But 2 months later, that hope was crushed. Forensic testing confirmed that the remains did not belong to Maura Murray. In January 2022, the FBI officially entered Maura's case into the National Violent Criminal Apprehension Program database, opening the door for broader collaboration between law enforcement agencies across the United States. Throughout 2022, New Hampshire police continued searching in the Landaff and Easton areas, yet no new leads surfaced. Then in February 2024, on the 20th anniversary of Maura's disappearance, an age progression image of her face was released in hopes of finally shedding light on the 2-decade-old mystery. Yet, despite all efforts, the biggest question remains unanswered. Where did Maura Murray go on that fateful night? More than 2 decades have passed, yet Maura Murray's disappearance remains one of the most baffling mysteries in American history. Relentless searches, scattered clues, and countless theories have been proposed, but the final answer remains elusive. Does someone out there know the truth? Will this case ever be solved? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next mysterious story. See you in the next video.